Today we're going to talk about potassium deficiency in corn, and there's several situations that can cause these deficiency symptoms to occur. First and foremost, there being an actual potassium deficiency in the soil that shows up in a soil test and in a tissue sample pulled from the affected crop. The second way that it can show up is if planting conditions were not ideal in the spring, things were planted a little wet, sidewall compaction occurred, the roots are definitely having an issue getting down into the soil, and if they're stuck in the seed trench and they're not developing properly, they're not going to be able to take up nutrients properly. And then the third situation where it could show up is in hot, dry conditions. You can get a false positive where it looks like you have it. The crop is actually showing you the symptomology, but it's simply due to hot, dry conditions where the roots are not able to access any available potassium. So what we're going to see is this yellowing and necrosis, the dying of leaves at the bottom of the plant. So since potassium is mobile in the plant, we will see it start to show up in these lower leaves and work its way up further into the canopy. So the first thing that you're going to notice is the outside edges start to die, and there'll be some yellowing around it. It usually starts down here at the tip and progresses towards the base of the plant. So here we can see the tip has actually died, and it's working its way up the plant along with the edges dying. So here we've got one leaf that's showing symptomology. Here's a second one starting. There's a third one showing just a little bit. As we get to this fourth leaf, we're just now showing a little bit of yellowing on the outside edges. Again, this is the outside edge of a field. When it's the false positive because of environmental conditions, you typically will see that show up in the end rows first, where there is some compaction, where trucks are parked in the fall, where it's usually a little bit wetter. There's a lot of things that can happen on the outside edges. It could be because fertilizer isn't getting thrown to the outside edge. It's a little bit drier. And you can also tell too, you want to look at environmental conditions. So one, here we know in this situation, we have not had rain going on 5 weeks. We've had absolutely nothing to 1/10 of rainfall. You can also see as we move further into the field that the leaves are still rolling. It's not just the outside edge. So we're seeing some stress in the field as well. We know there's not been rainfall. We know this crop is in dire need of a rain. So you have to think about all those conditions. You do want to dig up some plants, look at the roots, see if it has an adequate root system that can take up nutrients. But if you start to see any kind of symptomology or leaf death and necrosis in the field, you want to try and figure out what is going on and get a better picture of when it was planted, what the conditions have been like since planting. Look at the plant, stage it, see what growth stage it's at, check out those roots, make sure everything's going on good there, and then you can make a proper diagnosis.